The biggest tip that I can give other Catholics is just go out on the date. It doesn't have to be anything more than a date. Hi, I'm Lillian Fallon. I am the author of Theology of Style, Expressing the Unique and Unrepeatable You, but I also happen to be a single 31-year-old who's just trying to survive out here in these streets on different dating apps. So I'm here to talk to you guys about how you can also survive being single as a Pringle. Number one, don't take it so seriously. Our whole lives, we've been told that we should date with marriage in mind, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's good to be intentional with your dating, but sometimes when we do that, we put so much pressure on ourselves before we even get to the first date. And we think, okay, right when I meet this person, is this gonna be my spouse? Is this the person I'm gonna buy a 15-passenger van with? Is this the person that I'm gonna homeschool my kids with? All you need to know on a first date is if you wanna go out on a second date. That's it. Another thing that I recommend within this don't take it so seriously umbrella, try to avoid over-spiritualizing things. What I mean is that sometimes we get involved in a little bit of like Catholic woo-woo. I was in adoration and I was discerning whether I wanted to date this guy or not. And I'm sitting there and praying before the Blessed Sacrament, and I'm like, God, if you want me to marry this man, please have him walk into adoration right now. The door opens and he walked into adoration. And I was like, okay, I am not married. Sometimes we look for signs, and then we'll start seeing anything and everything as this incredible sign that God is saying, hey, like, this is what you need to do. You need to marry this guy. I ended up not marrying this person. One time I was seeing this guy. I'm sorry, Martin, if you see this, but I was applying some Catholic woo-woo to the situation. I was in church and my sister was with me praying, and she pointed to a stained glass of St. Martin, and she was like, oh my gosh, it's Martin. I was like, what does it mean? Some of this stuff actually does not have divine intervention going on. Sometimes it's just us projecting. So try not to get too caught up in over-spiritualizing the early parts of dating and essentially projecting on what you want in that situation, or projecting your desires onto God's will. Tip number 2 is invest in your life. Don't wait for your life to begin when you start a relationship. A lot of us think, okay, one day when I finally meet the one, then I'll start living, then I'll start having good times, then I'll start going out and having fun. I really recommend hanging out with other single friends. Once you get to a certain age, I'm 31, so a lot of my friends are married and with kids. My social life consists of a lot of couples and all their children, which is amazing. I love that. But sometimes when you're spending so much time with people with families, you're like, wow, I'm not really having a shared experience in my vocation with them, and I don't have that commonality of what they're going through in their relationship and their marriage and that state in life. And you can start to feel really lonely if all you're surrounded with is people who are in a different stage in life. It's important to surround yourself with people who are walking in that same path of life so you don't feel you're alone. So make sure that you have some friends who get it and who get you. On the same note of investing in your life, make sure that you're pursuing the passions and gifts that you have. A lot of the time when we're experiencing a stage of singleness, God is actually asking us to use those gifts and talents and passions for a reason. He might be asking you to give back to the community or to really pursue the passion that you have. Like for me, it was writing. I was able to, in this time of singleness, write a book, which if I was married and having a lot of kids, I don't know if I would have had the bandwidth to do that. So ask yourself, what are the gifts and talents that God's asking me to use during this time? We also have another video that I've done on this topic. So if you want to maybe explore what your gifts and passions and talents might be, definitely check out that video as well. Tip number 3, there are actually more fish in the sea. I know that when somebody says this, it can be really frustrating because you're like, I want that specific fish though. I don't care about the other fish. But it's really important when you're dating and thinking, okay, this could go really well or this might not, to remember that there are other people out there. Sometimes we get caught up on this soulmate mentality, that there's only one person who will understand you, only one person who really gets you. But there are billions of people in the world, and there's another match out there for you. I know that for me, when I get really attached to a guy and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't even fathom being interested in someone else, I really have to talk to myself and say, hey, if this doesn't work out, there are other dudes out there. He's not the last fish in the ocean, okay? I think as single people, we grapple a lot with this battle of wills where we're trying to say to God, hey, this guy is perfect for me. We match up in this way, our same values, we vibe, we connect, we want the same things. And I think that this is what's best for me. But we have to remember that God ultimately knows what's best for us. And if a relationship isn't working out, if that fish is swimming out of your ocean, that it means that that's not the right fish for you and that God knows which fish is right for you. Sometimes also when we're so focused on one person being the right person and there's no flexibility in your mind of saying, hey, there could be another person out there for me, we start to function out of a scarcity mindset and we start trying to force things. And that's when we start overlooking red flags and we start blinding ourselves to serious incompatibilities. When you allow yourself to be open to the possibility of other options or the possibility of there being somebody else out there for you who might be perfect for you, you are more likely to be aware of the things within the relationship or that person who you're kind of really set on that actually might not really work out. So don't function out of a scarcity mindset. Focus on abundance because there's many matches out there for you and God will send you the right one. Tip number 4, take breaks when you need to. Dating is super exhausting. It's emotionally draining. And sometimes you can go from being so hopeful to completely despairing within 1 hour of a date. So make sure that you give yourself breaks when you're dating. I know that for me, I'll kind of enter into these seasons where I'm ready to get back into the game and I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna be on the dating apps. I'm gonna message every guy that I think is cute. And then I'll go out on those dates and I'll try and pursue those things and then I'll get burned. And I'm like, okay, I just need like a little break from dating. Some of us are afraid to take those breaks because we think, well, what if I miss the right guy? What if I don't go to that singles mixer and my future husband shows up and I totally missed that opportunity? God doesn't work that way. He knows your mental state and he wants you to take care of your mental health, especially when it comes to pursuing your vocation. You should be in a mental place where you feel at peace and you're not, again, functioning out of this scarcity mindset of desperation. And you're just trying to like find anybody like, okay, like, will you marry me? Will you date me? So yeah, make sure that you take breaks. You deserve breaks. Take care of your mental health during this time. And you're not gonna miss the right person walking into your life. Tip number 5, find a saint mentor. My saint mentor is Saint Joseph, and he's been helping me for years. There are specific saints who are actually the patron saints of like single women. I only focus on the single women ones. Desperate causes. I have prayed that one when it comes to dating. There's Saint Anne, Saint Jude, Saint Raphael. Do a Google search of who are the patron saints of dating and find one that you feel really resonates with you. For me, it's Saint Joseph because I'm really looking for a man who personifies the masculinity of Saint Joseph. And so by praying to one of these saints to kind of be your buddy, to be your wingman, wingwoman essentially, as you're going through dating, really helps because you don't feel alone. You feel like somebody is also vouching for you and want us to be led to our vocation. I know that dating out in these streets feels like a battlefield. I'm out here fighting with you. I know how raw it can leave you. God is loving you through this, and you're not alone walking through the battlefield. And remember that Jesus always swipes right. If you have any tips on how to survive dating as a Catholic, please leave a comment below. Tell me what it is, because I might actually need your tips too. And if you like me, if you like my content, you can always buy my book, Theology of Style, Expressing the Unique and Unrepeatable You. I go into all kinds of different topics about understanding your worth. And that always ties into dating somehow, right? Goodbye.